Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be creating this cool, we have this like basic landing page here, and the main purpose of this tutorial is to look at this pixelated menu effect you can see. So when we click on this toggle, we get that cool like kind of pixelated animation. It's when the menu's built in. Okay, so actually sourced this. This is another kind of awards inspiration I've seen recently. It's from this site here actually, Henry Northington. You can see he's using this kind of pixelated effect for the menu, and I just thought I'd try and copy that. So yeah, hope you enjoy, and yeah, let's get going. Thanks guys. Okay guys, so to get started, in VS Code here, you can see we're starting off from scratch as always. So we have the index.html file, the style.css, and an app.js file here. I'm going to go in the HTML file and just get the HTML5 boilerplate code up and running. Let's close this down so you can see. And then you can see here we're going to be using this Google font. So it's called Orbitron. It's quite a cool futuristic font we're going to use for this. So if we just copy the link from Google Fonts, and we'll put that in our header section up here like so. And that's good for now. So now coming into the body, actually let's just do the style.css now just so we can close that down. So if we just come in here, we just do the usual margin, 0, padding, 0, box size in border box, and I'm just going to apply that font. So this Orbitron font, you can copy this over from Google, and there you go, font family, Orbitron, and it has a fallback of this sans serif font here. Okay, so that's all good. Now if we just open this in live server, okay, cool, so we can see what we're working with. So back in the HTML, if we just come into the body now, I'm just going to just have a main element here. So we'll have main. This is going to house all of our content. We're going to have a div of a class of pixel wrapper, okay, like so. This is just going to be like our container for all of our pixels on the screen. And then under here, we're just going to have, I can close that down. There's going to be nothing in there for now. We're going to be applying the pixels with JavaScript. So we come underneath this. Next we're going to do is have a div of a class of container. And this is just going to basically just contain our header and our menu, that kind of thing. Okay, so all of our content really of the site. So we just say in here we'll have a header, and then in this header we'll have a div of a class of toggle. This is just going to be our menu toggle, and in here we can put some text like menu, like so. And then what else we need to do? Sorry, we haven't applied the style.css up here. So we just go link. We want to link to our style.css like so. Now you can see that Orbitron font has been applied. Okay, so next one underneath the header, we want to just create a menu. It's just going to contain all of our kind of menu items. So in here we'll just have a UL. It's an unordered list, and then some list elements. They're going to house a span element because we're going to number our links. So this will be the first number. And then after this, we can just say home, like so. And then I'm just going to copy this down just so we can change the text. We'll have 5 links. So change this to 3, 4, 5. And then just whatever links you want to use really. I'll just go with the usual arbitrary link names here. Home, about, projects, work, contact, like so. Okay, as you can see our links there, sticking good. Next thing we need to do under here is we're just going to have we're going to have a section class under this. This is just like our header here, then we have our menu. Now under the menu, we're just going to have a section, so we'll just say section here, like so. And then in here, we're going to have a div of a class of hero. Okay, and then in here, we're just going to have a h1. I'll just use my name for now. Just, use whatever you want. If it's a portfolio or, another website. Then underneath here, I'm just going to just list some attributes. So this would be, for example, if this was my portfolio, I would just, do an unordered list here. And just, say what you're offering really. I'm going to go with the numbers again, because I think it looks quite cool. So, I can just say here web development design just like any kind of services you offer really. So we could just say, to, I don't know, something like UI, UX, all the buzzwords. And then we can come to here and just say tutor, something like that, if I can spell it right. Okay, and then kind of underneath that, I'm just going to have another div with a class of intro. And this would be like some introduction text. For now, I'm just going to use lorem just to make it quick. And we can get some text in there like so. Okay, so we're nearly done with this this HTML. Underneath, or coming outside of this div here, let's just have another div with a class called square. This is going to be like a flashing animated square we can use. Okay, and then that's pretty much it for HTML. So we just need to link to our app.js file using the script tag at the bottom. Okay, so that's looking all good. Let's style this now, some CSS. So if we come into our CSS, so I just want to just apply a font weight here as well in the global settings. So we'll just say font weight, we'll make it 400. That should make it a bit lighter. And then also I just want to have a list style of none. Okay, and that will remove bullet points from our unordered list items, okay, in our menu and on our home hero section. Underneath this, actually I just wanted to change the actual HTML and body. So we'll just say HTML body. And for this, we're just going to give this a width of 100%, height of 100% to fill the screen basically vertically and horizontally. And then we're just going to give this a background color of black. Okay, cool. And then underneath this, let's just do some text. We'll just apply some styling to our text. Okay, so we'll say H1. I'm going to give it some a color. Just give it a color of white, like so. And then we're going to say here, I want to give it a bit of margin bottom just to separate it from the rest of the text. I'll just give it margin bottom of 1 rem, like so. Okay, and then kind of out of this, the next one I want to select is the hero section, the unordered list, and the li elements. And here we're going to give these a color of, we use the RGB here, RGB, and I found this grey color earlier, so 163, 163, 163, that'll do for now. Okay, so you can see there's our list elements from our hero section. And then I just want to select the P tag as well. We'll make that white color, white, like so. Okay, and so the next thing I want to do here is just grab our header section. Okay, so if we just go header under here in the CSS header, and we're going to position this fixed so it always stays on the screen. Top 0, left 0, so it's at the top left hand. It starts at the top left hand side of the viewport. I'm going to give it a width of 100%, and then we're also just going to say a height of 50 pixels. So just to show you what that looks like, if we do a border bottom, 1 pixel solid white, you can see there's our header across the top of the screen. Okay, so now kind of underneath this, next thing we want to do here, just want to display this with Flexbox. And then what this allows us to do is basically we have like this menu toggle in here. You can see I've highlighted in the top left. If we can basically center this now. So we just say align items, center, like so. You can see that's nice and centered in proportion to the height of the header now. And then also I just want to give this some padding. So we'll say padding left, and we'll give this just a 5 VW, 5 viewport widths, just to give it a bit of white space. And we're going to align this text with that soon as well, just to make it look a bit neater. And just give this a Z index as well of 100. Okay, this just brings it in front of everything, so we can always click on this toggle button. For now, I'm gonna, actually we can leave that for now. We'll take off the border later. Okay, so the next thing I want to do here is grab our menu, so say .menu. And remember our menu is this section here, this div, and this just houses all of our kind of, our menu items. Okay, so if we come back here, say menu, again we're going to position this fixed. So it's fixed to the viewport, top 0, left 0, give it a width of 100%, give it a height of 100%, And then we will say display flex, like so. Again, we're using flexbox just to center all of the content that this menu item houses. And then we're just going to say pointer events none. Okay, so basically this doesn't allow a user to select any kind of text on the or select anything on the actual menu div, because we don't want to be able to have any click events when it's not active. When a menu item or menu is active, that means the user's toggled the menu. They can click on it, but if it's not, then obviously we don't want anything to happen. So that's what that pointer events does. Again, here we're going to say, so we've displayed the flex box here. Again, we're just going to justify the content, and we'll justify content center like so. Okay, so now we should see. You can't really see it well because the text is black, but you can see the highlighted links here. We've centered that now, and we're also just going to say align items center as well, like so. Now you can see the links have gone nice and central. What else we need to do here is we'll say we give this a z index of 99. Okay, and then we'll also just say a transition period. So for the animation, a 1 second animation. Okay, that's cool. And then what I want to do here, you'll see I've just commented out that pointer events. We'll uncomment that out, but I just want to actually no, we can uncomment that now. And then under here we'll say menu, and then we want to grab the unordered list of the menu. Okay, and then here we're just going to give this a height of 50%. Okay, so now you can see that's moved the links up a bit, but now what we want to do here is say display flex. Again, we're using flexbox, really powerful tool, flexbox. Then we can say flex direction column, so that will display them in the column format, and then we can just say justify content, space between. And that will give it we'll give the links some nice white space. Okay, and then again here we're just going to set the color to white. Okay, so now we can actually see our links, and then we'll also just say transition of 0.5 seconds for this as well. Okay, so that's looking okay so far. Next we want to grab here is our toggle, and we're just going to say here cursor pointer z index of 100, so it's in front of everything, so we can press it whilst the menu is active and not active. And again, we'll just set the color to white. You can see there's our menu there. We've got that pointer occurring now. Okay, so there's a few bits left here to do. So let's just next go to our main element. Remember, this is the part that houses all of our content. It's this main here, and we're just going to set the position of relative here, and we'll just say top 0, left 0, width 100%, height 100%. And then next thing we want to do is now we're going to grab our pixel wrapper. Okay, so we say dot pixel underscore wrapper, like so. Here again we're going to use absolute positioning. Actually, let's fix this. This will be fixed to the screen as well. Okay, and then we'll say again top 0, left 0, width 100% to fill the screen horizontally, height 100% to fill the screen vertically. Again, display flex. Okay, and then we'll say overflow hidden, because we're going to be basically applying square divs, like loads of square divs to this pixel wrapper. So if we just make it red for now, background color red. Yep, so there'll be basically loads of square rows, or columns, sorry, and they're going to be aligned using flexbox, and then within each column we're going to apply square divs with JavaScript, and they're going to basically just represent a pixel. Okay, and we're going to use JavaScript to measure the height of the viewport, so we can determine how many pixels to apply in each column. Okay, so next we want to do here is we're just going to say flex wrap. I want to wrap that, and then we're just going to say as well justify content flex start. And then also I'm just going to align items. Actually, you know what? I don't think we will need to do this. Bear me a second. Let's comment this out for now. Sorry, ignore that, guys. We'll leave that for now. We'll see if we need that later. And then we're just going to say, again, pointer events none, because obviously we don't want the users to interact with these. They're for kind of just design purposes only. And also, we'll just say a z-index of 10 and a transition of 2 seconds. Transition of 2 seconds. Okay, so next thing we want to do here is if we come to our pixel column next. Remember, we've not added a pixel column yet, but we're going to be doing this with JavaScript, okay? And here we can just say, again, display flex. And this time we just want the flex direction to be column. Okay, and then next we want to do is grab a pixel. Okay, and here we're just going to say, we're going to transition these of 0.5 seconds. Okay, that's just the animation for animation purposes. Okay, so we're nearly done with our CSS, guys. So underneath this pixel, we're next going to select our square element we created. And then here we're just going to say position absolute, bottom, we'll just say 100 pixels, right 5 viewport widths, that should be right. Just going to remove that red, we don't need that red anymore. Okay, and then we're just going to say here a width of 15 VW for 15 viewport widths. Do the same for the height as well, so that's a nice square. And then we can just say background color of white, like so. Okay, so now you can see we have that square. Okay, and that just grows in proportion to the screen as well. And then come underneath that, the next thing we need to select here is active. We're just going to have an active class, and this is just going to apply a background of black. Okay, so we'll just say, and what this does, but when we basically toggle our menu, we're going to be applying this active class to each of these pixels up here. So what we, so that's what that's for. Actually, we can bring this under the pixel section. Okay, so when we toggle our menu, it will, and all the pixels are toggled to active, it will apply this black background. It will take 0.5 seconds to transition that back, or animate that background color in, basically. Okay, so underneath that, next thing we want to do here is just grab our hero section. That should be lowercase. And then we're just going to say display flex again. And we'll just say flex direction of column. So now you can see the content's gone underneath each other, and then we'll say justify content center, and then we'll also just say give it a width of 100%. Cool, and then we'll also just say padding, give it some padding, and we just say 100 pixels from the top. And we just want to do 5 VW from the left and right. Okay, and then what also we want to do here is, so if we just select our intro, which is this, contains this text here, this lorem text, I'm just going to say here margin top 2 rens, give it a bit of white space like so, and then we can also just say a width of 30 VW. Okay, so that's looking okay now. Let's just make the opacity, let's change our menu to have an opacity of 0. So if we come up here, so when we start, obviously we don't want to see the menu, so we just say opacity of 0. And that's gone now. Okay, so, and also I just want to remove that top border. Let's get rid of that as well from our header. Okay, so that's looking okay. I think we're nearly there. I just want to add an animation to this this box here, and also I just want to adjust the width, because obviously when we go to a small viewport, I want to increase the width of this. So to do that, I'm just going to say here, I'm going to use a CSS media query. We'll say at media screen, and we'll just say max width. And I want to change this at 800 pixels, like so. And here we just select that intro section, and I'm just going to say width of 80 VW for now. Okay, so now you can see we get that responsiveness to that paragraph, so that's looking good. And then finally, let's just do a keyframes animation for CSS. I'm just going to call this flash, make that square flash. 0. So when we start the animation, we want the opacity to be 1, and then at 50%, we want the opacity to come down to 0.2, and then we want to finish up where we started. So at 100%, we'll just set the opacity to 1, add a percent there, and then we can apply this animation to our square. Okay, so if we come here up to our square, and we can just say animation, use that flash keyframe we just created. We'll make the animation go on for 3 seconds, create an infinite loop, and we'll ease in, ease out. Okay, so now you can see we've got that nice cool flashing square at the bottom. Okay, so that's pretty much it for our HTML and CSS. So it's looking okay, but now let's just get this menu functionality working and our pixel effect going. So if you come into our JavaScript now, now the first thing we want to do with our JavaScript is get our pixel wrapper. Okay, so we'll just say const pixel wrapper equals document dot query selector, and we'll just select our pixel wrapper like so. Let me just check that is working. Console.log pixel wrapper. We come in here into our console, and we should have our pixel wrapper. Okay, so we can see that, that's looking good. The next thing we want to do here is get our menu. So we'll just say const menu equals document dot query selector, and let's just grab that menu next. Next we want to do is get the toggle, so say let tog for now equal, or actually we use const here as well. Const tog equals document dot query selector. Do that, and we'll just say dot toggle like so. And then underneath this, we'll say we'll create a menu active variable. Okay, so menu active, and we'll set this to false initially. Obviously, when our page first loads, we don't want our menu to be active, so we'll set that to false. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is create an empty array called pixels, and this is just going to equal an empty array for now. This is where we're going to basically add or append or push all of our pixels to, just so we can animate them in a for loop. Okay, and then next thing we want to do here is we're going to say function, and we're just going to say, we're going to call this get dimensions. Okay, and the first thing this does, so this is going to be like a reset function. Okay, so whenever we resize our screen or load the page, it will basically calculate the width of the screen in pixels to get, you know, the correct dimensions for each of our pixel elements. So the first thing we want to do when we resize our screen is just clear the pixel wrapper HTML. We want to start with a blank canvas. Okay, so here I'll just say pixel wrapper dot inner HTML equals just like nothing. So we'll leave it as blank, a blank string. And then I'm going to create a size variable next. Okay, so we're going to say let size equal, and we're going to do a ternary operator here. Okay, so what we're going to say here is if the window dot inner width, if it's less than 400 pixels, then we want the size of each pixel, or we want to have 10 columns, okay? Because obviously the smaller screen size, the less pixels we want, because the animation will take longer. So here we're just going to say if the screen size is less than 400 pixels, we'll say we want 10 rows, or 10 columns rather. Else, we'll say if the window.inner width, and here we'll just say if it's less than 1000 pixels this time, again we'll do a question mark, then we'll say we want 30 columns, else we'll have 50 columns. Okay, so for larger screen sizes we'll have 50 columns for the pixels, and then for the smaller screen size we'll just have 10 columns, because obviously the smaller screen the more pixels it can house, that's why we're using less columns. Okay, so that's it for our size variable. Next thing we want to do here is, obviously when we or when we resize our screen, we want to just set this pixels array to a blank array again. So we'll say, because we need to reapply them, so we'll just say pixels equals blank, like so. You'll see what I'm doing this shortly. Now underneath this, we're next going to get or calculate the size that our pixel should be in terms of their width. Okay, so we'll say let pixel width equal, and we're going to take the window dot inner width, and we're going to divide that by the size variable that we just created. Okay, so for example, on a small screen, it will take the window, the width of the window in pixels, and it will divide that by 10 columns basically. And then what we can do underneath this, we'll just say let height equal window dot inner height. And then now we do a for loop. Okay, so we're going to come underneath this, we're going to say for let I equals 0, whilst I is less than that size variable that we created. Okay, we're going to increment by 1, so I plus plus. And then we're going to just basically create a new pixel element. Okay, so we'll say let pixel column first, sorry, we're going to create a new pixel column. So let pixel column equal document dot create element, and we're going to create a new div. And then here we're going to say pixel column, that should have an n on the end, pixel column dot class name, and that's going to equal, and we're going to say pixel underscore column, like so. Remember in our style.css we have this pixel column here, so that's what we're doing there. Okay, just applying that class name to it. And then underneath this, we're going to next get our style, so pixel column dot style dot width, and here we want to set the width of our column to be equal to, you can use the template this rule here, and I'm just going to say 100 divided by the size, and then we can say viewport widths. So for example, if we have 100, if on a small screen we want 10 columns, so 100 divided by 10, that will be obviously 10. So we have 10 viewport widths there. So that's what we're doing. So next we want to do is say pixel wrapper dot append child, and we just want to append that pixel column. Okay, so let's just see that now, see how that works. If you could do get dimensions, and then if we go to our pixel wrapper here, you can see we've got the 10 columns there. Okay, so that's what that piece of code has just done, and you can see we have the width of 10 viewport widths. Okay, so now we have our even columns, and you'll see if we go to a larger screen as well, you can see, so for example here, we have around like 50 columns, okay, because obviously on the large screen we have 50 rows. So if it's greater than 1,000 or 1,000 and greater, then you have 50 right columns there, okay, for our pixels. Okay, so that's looking good so far. Now underneath this, we're going to do another for loop here. So we're going to say for let j equal 0, whilst j is less than the height of the screen. Okay, so the height of the screen in pixels that we created up here. Then we're just going to say j plus equals, and we want to plus equals that pixel width. Okay, just so we have basically we move down the column by the height of, or the width of the pixel, just so we can get those perfect square pixels. Okay, so once we do that, and we're using the height of the screen, so why it's less than the height of the screen, and this will just give us enough squares to fill the entire column up to the end of the or the bottom of the column at the bottom of the screen here, the viewport. Okay, so we're going to say let pixel div equal, and here we're just going to say again document dot create element, and we want to create a div again, and then here we're just going to say pixel div dot class name equals just simply pixel, and then we're just going to say pixel div dot style dot height, and that is going to equal, and we're just going to say, obviously we're going to use that pixel width variable we just created, and we can just apply pixels there, and then we can say pixels. We want to next push this to our pixels array. Okay, so we can say pixels dot push, and then we can say pixel div, like so. And then once that's done, we can say pixel column, so the pixel column we're currently in, and we can just say dot append child pixel div, like so. So now if we come in here, we come into our column, you can see we have all these little pixels here. Okay, so that's looking good. So there's a lot of divs there we're creating, but yeah, that's the gist of how we apply all these pixels to our screen. Okay, so now coming out of this, let's just add a menu listener to our, or an event listener to our toggle button now. So I'm just going to say tog dot add event listener, and then we want to listen out for a click here, and then we can say so when we click on this, basically we want to set the menu active to equal the opposite of what it currently is. So if it's true, it'll be false. If it's false, it will be true. Okay, and then underneath this, we go into another for loop here, and then we'll say this time we'll go whilst I is less than pixels dot length. Okay, so we're running through each of the pixels that we push to our pixels array here in this get dimensions function. Then we're going to say I++. And then here we can say we're going to use a set timeout now. Okay, this will basically just run our animation to change all of the pixels, the background color. And here we can say we want to first get a random number. Okay, so just to randomize the animation or the order that the pixels change color in. We don't want it to all be linear, because that will just be quite a boring effect. So we can say here, let's random, and we're going to bring in the math module here. Math.floor, and the math.floor will basically just round off the number that this math.random function creates. Okay, so we use math.random, and then we just want to times that by the length of the array, so pixels.length. Okay, because this math.random times pixel.length, it'll basically just give you a decimal point, so we just want to floor that using this math.floor function here. So now we've got that random number, and then what we're going to say here is if the menu is active, so if we've toggled the menu to be active up here, then we want to just basically say pixels. So we're going to target our pixels array, then we're going to select the random pixel from our pixel array, and then we're just going to say .class list .add, and we'll just say active, like so. And then come underneath this, we can say else. We'll say we want to do the opposite, we'll remove active. So basically if the menu is not active, then we'll remove the active class. Okay, that's pretty much it. And then what we need to do here as well after this is we need to actually, so we don't pick the same pixel again in the next iteration, we have to splice the current iteration we're on so it doesn't get selected again. Okay, so we'll say pixels dot splice, and we want to splice or basically just remove the pixel with that random index number that we had, and we just want to remove that one, so we just say 1 here. That's what that function is doing. It's just removing the pixel div at that random spot in the array, and we're only removing one pixel from there, from that position. Okay, and then in this timeout function we're just going to say I. Okay, so this will just apply these animations a millisecond after each other. Okay, so it's quite quick. Now what we're going to say underneath this next is after this for loop, within this for loop, sorry, we'll keep it in there. We'll say if I is equal to pixels So if we're at the end of the animation, so -1, pixels.length -1, then what we're going to say here is we're going to set timeout again, do another animation here, and then we're just going to say because we basically spliced or removed all of our pixels from the array, we need to reset it. Okay, so we can just say pixels equals, and then we can just select all of our pixels again. Document using the spread operator here in an array. Document dot query selector all, and we'll just say dot pixel like so. Okay, and then after this as well, we're just going to say if the menu active, we'll say menu dot style. Oh, that should be menu. Sorry, up here. We'll say menu dot style dot pointer events equals all, and also we need to do the opacity as well. Dot style dot opacity equals 1, just to make it not see-through anymore. Okay, and then we're just going to set this to I plus 10, just so it's 10 milliseconds after the whole for loop animation has finished. Okay, and then so we're nearly done with this, guys. I appreciate this is getting quite long now, but you can see when we click our menu now, we get that pixelated effect, and that comes in. Okay, so now what we need to do, you can see when we've or deactivated the menu, so that's working, but we just need to apply our settings to the actual menu items here. So now what we can say is coming out of this if statement here, we're just going to say if not menu active, then we're just going to say we're going to do a similar thing here. We'll bring these down, and we can just say menu.style.pointer events equals none, because obviously we don't want to interact with the menu when it's not active, and we'll set the opacity to 0. So now you should see we get that gradual menu brought in, and then when we click it off, we can see it's disappeared now. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We're nearly there. All we need to do now is just say we're going to create a reset function as well. So function reset, and what we're going to do here, we're just going to set the menu active to equal false. This is basically just going to be applied when we resize our page. It's just going to remove the menu and just recalculate all the dimensions, that kind of thing. Again, we're just going to copy this here, this pixels. We're going to reset the actual pixels array, and then we're just going to say as well, we're going to do a for loop here. I'm going to say let I equal 0 whilst I is less than pixels dot length. We'll say I plus plus, and then we can say here pixels I dot class list equals dot remove, sorry, remove that active class, and then also I'm just going to copy these down as well. Okay, just to remove all the kind of styling from our menu. That's just the reset function. And then what we can do after this is I'm just going to say at the bottom here, window.add event listener, listen out for a resize. And here I'll just say get dimensions, and I'm going to do the same thing for that reset function as well. Reset. Okay, so just to show you why we did that, when we click on our menu, okay, so we get that pixelated effect. When we resize, it will just take it all off, just so it doesn't stay there. It just resets the complete menu item, okay? So that's looking okay now, pretty much there. So yeah, that's how you create that nice, cool pixelated effect. Obviously, it works well on all screens. So if I press the menu here, it's looking good. And then you'll see when we go to a smaller screen, we get less columns. If we do, for example, on a mobile device, we click on menu. There you go. It looks a bit funny there. It's just because there's a bug in Chrome, but it does look good on a mobile. So if we bring it smaller, Okay, and there you go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, guys. Yeah, any questions or feedback, leave me in your comments. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.